Good afternoon for the third time today. Well, I had a little bit of a look to see whether I could fix my problem, and the problem being that the items that I got from online, from an order, weren't exactly what I had anticipated. I'm going to put it down to an 80-20 issue, 80% my fault, 20% the suppliers. At the end of the day, my problem. I had ordered some 8mm pins that had an 8mm thread on it. Nothing too complicated. Anticipating that they would be the same as these pins, except with a thread on them. That was the theory. Turns out that they are not even close to being 8mm in the actual shaft. In fact, if I just get my dial calipers out, that's pretty close. They are, hang on, I'll just get one mic'd up, 7.1 if I'm lucky, 7.5 or 7.15. So there's quite a variance in the shaft sizes. Bit of an issue. I looked to see whether I could get some studs. I wanted them about this long, at least this long, and the studs with the the thread on them. And while I probably, if I did a wee bit more searching, I could probably find them. I had come out here earlier to show my great enthusiasm and excitement for having got them, and I said, about putting a piece of heat shrink on it. It was just a guess. It was just like when people are desperate, they'll try all sorts of things. Turns out it's close, but not quite close enough. Got a little bit of a wobble in it, meaning the tolerance that I wanted to achieve, like in this one, this is the shaft that I got. Don't ignore the collar on it. I've just put that on as a stock collar. Just wanted to see whether that'll work as a stock collar for a drill. We'll see about that. The tolerance on this is very good. That's what I was anticipating. But I got, as I said, I've got these pins. I've got 20 of them, and they're all wrong. I tried this, and that was close, but not as good as I'd want. So I came out here and I thought, well, maybe what I have to do is to get a die and thread the stainless steel. Now, I don't know what grade stainless that is, and I don't currently have an 8 by 1.25 thread die for doing that. So, recounting something else that I'd done, I mic'd up the diameters of the shaft, the pins that I had received, and yes, sure enough, they varied a bit, by about 1/10 of a mil, in fact. So I put some heat shrink on the a couple of them. These ones, it's probably a little bit better than the very first one that I tried. A little bit better. This one here, a little bit worse. Well, about the same as the first one. This one here, however, because I picked the larger diameter, is almost an interference fit. So not exactly what I want, but it will go in like that. And the wobble is still there a little bit, but not bad. This is why I've got them elevated up on this to show that there's a difference. It's not bad. So this was just sheer flaming luck. In fact, let's just try. Yes, it goes in there. I contaminated that one earlier. So that one there, not a bad old fit there. These ones here, ditto, just a different colour. They might go in with a wee bit more heating, the heat shrink itself. So yeah, they'll go in, and that one's virtually got no wobble whatsoever. Just coincidental that it's the black one. That one, once it's bedded down, probably not a lot of wobble. So these 5 pins are pretty darn close for what I want. The other pins, somewhat wanting. Even these 3 yellow pins. So what I might do is take the heat shrink off, see whether I can get another bit of heat shrink, and again, depending upon sheer luck, and you should never have to do this, but depending on luck, to see whether the heat shrink can be of varying thicknesses as well. I'm thinking that these undersized pins are effectively junk for my end purposes. I'll have to come up with an idea. I've no idea what that idea will be. How to use them now, because unless they were going to work in the manner that I intended, I don't really have a use for them. Somewhat disappointing. Ditto here when I did this was just a bolt that I mic'd up in the actual in the shop, and I've picked out the better sized ones, and they varied between the shank sizes between the actual length of the bolts, which was a bit weird, but yeah. Anyway, I picked some that were a bit better and painted them, but the paint, which is interesting, is quite plasticky, so I'm going to have a wee bit of a think about that, because that is in some ways tunable. I can keep on adding layers of paint to make the bolt. It's just a simple engineer's bolt. One of these, I can give it a bit of a rough up, which I did, and a bit of an undercoat, which I did, and then a top coat, which I did, etc. So I can tune the bolt, because it isn't too bad a fit. It's actually as good, if not better, than these things. So that, with a little bit of paint on it, and that's why I got them, might be the way forward if these don't work. In theory, I should only ever need 3 pins at any one time, maybe 4 depending upon the length. The idea being is that when I'm using these rails, which I've waxed on about quite a bit, they need to be held at the ends with one of these. So you drill your 20mm hole wherever you want to, you put one of these in, and then the bar can sit on this registration pin, and then I can move the end of the bar to wherever I want, drill the next hole, put the second one of these in, and then I can drill all the other holes. In that case, in that bar that I'm pointing to, it's got 5 bushes in. Each end one is for the guide bushing, for the registration pins, and then I can drill the other 3. The bars below it have got 16 holes in it, meaning, again, repeat of the same thing. I put the driller hole, put that in the board, slip the longer rail over, and then I can drill the far end, and then I can drill all the other remaining holes while the bar is not moving. And that's the beauty of that approach. However, I do need to hold the bars accurately while I'm doing that, and you needed these. When I go to do the 3-4-5 method, I will probably need 3. If I've just imagining, I've got a set of holes already drilled along here. I leave one of those registration plugs or pins in the end here, and I put the bar out this way. So that one would need to pivot on backwards and forwards, because the diagonal would come along, and I would have to have another one of these in the board here, so that the diagonal can do its thing, and I need the longer one to go into the hole. Now they can be these 8mm pins. That's what they were purchased for. So it may be that I only really need 2, but the idea in the end of the day is that I drill my outermost hole once it's been triangulated, and then I can pop the registration pin in and away I go. In fact, thinking about it, I probably only need 2 registration pins at any one time. Have to have a bit of a think about that, but that's probably what I'll need to do. Those 3 there might pay for me to indicate on them that they're not the tight fit, and well, the black ones are, and these 3 I'll have to differentiate between them all. But the rest of them are a bit of a pain, bit of a shame really, but there you go. The other thing is, because these pins that I've purchased were undersized so much, I can't put the heat shrink on it because they're already a pretty close fit. Now, there was something I was going to say which I've just remembered. I looked at some other 8mm pins, and they gave the specs for the shaft, exactly what I wanted, and they were from 7.78 to 8 mils. 7.78, and these things are 7.1. So you can see the issue. It might be an idea for me to go and grab some anyway, now that I've got a workaround there. But let's just have a quick look. It's pretty good. It's only see, these ones here are pretty much spot on 8mm. So yeah, getting those other pins still won't give me as good a fit as these pins do. So all in all, very disappointed in the purchases again, but it was a bit of a long shot and I missed out on this one. Luckily, I can do something here that kind of works. It's a bit of a cheat, not what I wanted. The other option, as I had mentioned before, was to have these drilled out so that they are a firm fit for the actual shafts that I've got, these pins. After all, that just might work, you know. Anyway, I've actually got some mild steel ones of these, equivalent of these, that might be sacrificed for the cause and see how well they drill out. I'm not too certain what grades. Oh no, it's 304 stainless steel these are. So I don't know how well that drills out, but the option was to actually thread that and then wind them in, and that would give me the perfect. That would be my preference. That would give me my perfect fit, not only for the bench dog, the 20mm hole, but also for the tolerances that way. Gonna have to give it a go, don't I? Rightio, that's it. Just thought I'd give you a little bit of an update, just a short one, just talking about this. Shouldn't have to do it, have done it, got a little bit lucky on these 5, these 3, not so much. Yeah, so that's where we're at. At least we can move forward, fingers crossed, and have a wee bit of a practice on some of these other boards and see how we go. Rightio, that was the update. Hopefully a little bit more positive video in the next one, hopefully. But we'll see. And in that case, I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye now.